You're watching 5 News. Welcome back. Not many of you will have heard of positional plagiocephaly, but it's a condition that's thought to affect up to half of all babies under a year old. It's more commonly known as flat head syndrome and is usually caused by babies sleeping on their backs, as recommended to reduce the chance of cot death. As their skulls are still soft, the back of their heads can flatten. The condition usually corrects itself by the time a baby is around a year old, but in extreme cases it can last well into childhood. Sometimes the only way to treat the condition is for children to wear helmets and bands, often for several months and for 23 hours a day. Well, a group of parents whose babies have plagiocephaly are in Westminster this morning, where they've handed in a petition at Downing Street urging the government to recognise the condition. Kerr is one of the mums, and she's taken us on, Toby there, along with her. Claire, thanks very much for being with us this morning. Tell us, first of all, what happened to Toby.
About 3 months of age, we noticed a flattening at the back of his head, and it gradually got worse and worse. We were told by health visitors that it would grow out and that it would correct as he started to sit up, but it didn't. And by 10 months of age, it was completely vertical at the back of his head, and we sought treatment with a helmet.
And I was going to say, how is he now? Did that helmet treatment do the trick?
It did. He basically looks normal now, not completely, not acting very normally, but he basically looks normal now, and his head has a nice round shape to it.
That looks fairly normal behaviour to me. What message have you been hoping to get across with your trip to Downing Street today?
We want to tell UK paediatric health professionals to adjust their advice. Yes, we agree that babies should be placed on the back of their heads to sleep, back on their backs to sleep, but we need to tell them, and all new parents, that they need, during the day, while they're awake and supervised, to have plenty of time on their tummies, so that they're not resting on the backs of their heads all the time.
What reaction did you get from the NHS when you thought that something was wrong with Toby?
They told me that there was nothing wrong, that it would correct in time, or, like many other people, 8 out of 10 of our members were told that hair would cover the head deformity as the child grew older, which simply isn't adequate, really.
And of course it's a lot more common than people realise, isn't it?
Yeah, up to 1 in 2 babies. There's 700,000 live births in the UK. Yeah, that could be up to 350,000 children.
Well, Claire, thanks very much for joining us. I hope somebody caught Toby there, because he disappeared from our screen, but nice to see you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And Dr. Mike Smith can tell us more about the condition. As I was just saying, I didn't realise quite how common it is. It affects 1 in 2
Yes,
children,
but the numbers
isn't it?
that need treatment of the kind that we just heard about, I'm responsibly advised, is only 200 to 300 a year. The majority do better on their own. And I think nowadays, of course, we are far more specific in diagnosis than we were even 15 years ago about this sort of thing, with the new techniques that we have in terms of diagnosis and so on. And consequently, it's being brought to public attention. But I don't want mothers out there thinking that if 1 in 2 it is suggested, which, you know, they will correct. I remember when one of my own children was born, his head was a bit like a pear, and over the next 3 or 4 days. Now, that's the sort that occurs at birth. What has been pointed out is this is what occurs when the child is particularly immobile in their cot, and therefore one side of the head, usually the back of the head, because it's saved lives by putting them on the back of the head. One must stress that. Stopping the baby death syndrome.
And again, it's important, isn't it, not to confuse mums. Should mums still put their babies to sleep on their backs?
Of course. I mean, it's saving lives like never before, and the fact that it might be temporarily, in the vast majority of cases, causing a misshapen head. Hopefully, what this will do, this campaign that we're hearing about, will do is to bring to the attention, as she said, of the paediatric professionals, so that they're onto it and can do something about it. And it means wearing a cap of the kind that you saw the mother there holding, which can, every 3 weeks, be adjusted so that the kid's head returns to normal. But don't worry, mothers out there, for goodness sake. I mean, it's not that common in terms of needing the sort of treatment we've heard about, and I'm grateful that the treatment is there nevertheless.
Dr. Mike, it's always a pleasure. Thank you.